Christine felt it was time for a little truth bomb during one of their many interviews when they appeared to be a big, happy family couch. She directly questioned Robyn about why she didn't want her assistance with the children. Furthermore, isn't it the role of sister wives? When Cody, the ever-brave patriarch, saw something intriguing to gaze at on the floor, Robyn was obviously taken aback and looked a little alarmed. It's funny that Christine never asked him for an explanation. The idea that sister wives should work together to raise each other's children is frequently cited as a fundamental principle, but in Robyn's case, it was all lip service. Everything she claimed to want for her family was totally contradicted by her actions, which kept her children away from Christine's assistance. Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel TLC Flicks. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Then, Robyn had the audacity to complain that her children weren't fully integrated or accepted. If she was busy erecting barriers between them and the others, how could they be? Indeed, it's a mystery why I find the drama of strangers who have decided to share their lives on social media and television so captivating. However, remembering that moment when Robyn sighed, "Thanks, Christine, and let's not forget Cody in all this," has made me furiously angry. Although Robyn may be partially to blame, he is the mastermind behind the whole situation and is always pitting them against one another. He's the one driving the drama and manipulating the strings, and to be honest, this mayhem has given him exactly what he wanted. I hope he's permanently finished with the show. He is not worthy of being in the spotlight anymore. When Christine revealed Robyn's true nature to the world, it became evident that not only did Robyn have outside assistance, but she was also deliberately separating her children. You can guarantee that Christine paid a price for Cody calling her out like that off camera. He likely took advantage of her by removing her few remaining liberties until she acquiesced to his satisfaction. She's been the target of a lot of criticism lately, especially about the charity and love she's showing to Cody and Robyn. And just to be clear, I'm not here to tell anyone how to feel. Everyone has the right to their own viewpoint. However, when I pay close attention to what she has to say, I see something more profound. A mother who has lost a child in the midst of a family ripped apart by conflict. Perhaps, just perhaps, she is just trying to find some peace in the midst of it all. To be clear, I don't believe Cody and Robyn deserve the respect Janelle is giving them. However, I don't believe that this generosity is truly for them. It appears to be more of a means for her to stay focused and keep going. In actuality, Robyn is a witch. In the most recent episode, she made a joke about people believing she had cast a spell on Cody to keep him under her control. The evidence is mounting, let's face it. Do you recall the string ring Cody gave her during their courtship? It looks more like something from a spell book than your average engagement ring, doesn't it? And then her one-of-a-kind collection of enormous geodes. In addition to the dungeon's comb decor, which is gloomy, moody, and somewhat cursed, and her side profile, which perfectly embodies the idea that only evil witches are ugly. No one needs that many unless they're brewing something. Furthermore, it doesn't end there. For a surprise reading, she engaged Mystic Mona, who truly understood some of the card meanings, coincidence or something darker. Recall the burning customs, such as when Cody proposed that Meri burn her marriage certificate, or when her black duffel bag caught fire. When she joined the family, she even had Meri's wedding band melted down. In addition to her notorious spirit baby, her late-night witching hour conversations with Meri, and her defense that she dislikes animals due to germs, it seems like textbook spellwork to me. Yes, Robyn. We are all aware that animals are sensitive to dark energy. That is the true purpose of Cody's shield amulet. Based on his quick running when Meri's sister attempted to touch it, it appears to be a real shield. And why is she so fixated on dreams and vision boards? It seems more like she's annoyed that her spells aren't working. She must have misread the directions, or perhaps more accurately your instructions. Cody even declared, "I'll be the devil," during the previous season. Do you believe I am? Feelings of dark magic. A large portion of her supplement collection is probably a secret potion pantry. She's too preoccupied with her precious moments figurines and potions to cook after all. Indeed, it's likely that she has turned everyone to stone. What are everyone's thoughts? Does this resemble that episode of South Park where everyone believed Kim Key to be a hobbit? Or is she a real-life witch? In any case, I'm keeping an eye out for more indications. They are traveling to a lua hosted by locals while on their family vacation in Hawaii, and I am conducting a rewatch. The fact that they're offering pork from a full roasted pig makes Cody immediately uncomfortable. He seems to have made the decision that the family shouldn't eat pork because Jesus didn't. The worst part is that they frequently consume bacon, which is obviously pork. Why, therefore, is bacon. The pig at the Lua isn't, though. I believe he stated that he had only recently stopped eating pork in order to attempt eating kosher, which makes some sense. Passover, keeping kosher, and other Jewish practices are of interest to many fundamentalist Christian and Mormon groups. It is comparable to cultural borrowing. However, even though Kalua pork is one of the greatest dishes in the world, it felt more like a control tactic, as if Cody was simply using his power to see who would agree to his most recent dietary limitation. I completely agree with the idea of fetishizing Jewish culture. The same thing was done by a fundamentalist sect my mother formerly belonged to. She even stopped preparing my favorite comfort dish since it contained pork, which really irritated me. And shouldn't you be condemning the New Testament as well if you're actually embracing Jewish law? Someone said that Christine is always repeating herself, and I can't stop hearing it now. You were not incorrect. Let me catch my breath, sweetheart. Let me catch my breath was the only thing I had ever heard her utter. Now, though, it happens at least half the time. It's interesting to note that repeating oneself can be a trauma response, frequently brought on by not being heard, and Christine may be one of those people. As a psychologist, I must admit that it's crazy to see everyone citing various problems to explain why Christine repeats herself. There is more to the armchair diagnostic. I recently started seeing a wolf in sheep's clothing because of my Kelty and Tony's fart and poop questions, so I had to take a moment to publish this. Have you farted in front of each other? Michael T claims in her talking head that she and her siblings are sardonic and clever. Not yet. It's simply plain disgusting. All has shock value, to be sure, but that's about all. Sarcasm and wit are not just a load of cheesy potty humor. They are witty and well-timed. To be honest, this makes us cringe more than any PDA they could give us, but I suppose they're aiming for a TLC program. To be honest, I would do anything to see all 5 of them sitting on that couch and watching as they are ultimately called out. Imagine Meri and Christine arguing about the action in the ring. Everyone is voicing their complaints in front of the world, and Cody and Robyn are being questioned about everything. Janelle might establish the law regarding her COVID pass ideas. It would be wonderful if Cody could clarify his lawyering up remarks. Finally, consider including truthful snippets from previous episodes, such as Cody's recent claim that Meri was never faithful. It would be impossible to overlook the contradictions if you included film of him giving her that terrible loyalty necklace and saying it meant everything, or Robyn saying they were never accepted, followed by scenes of the family going above and beyond to include her and her children. Let's just say that they aren't entirely truthful, but I'm not arguing that they are blatant liars. Perhaps, however, it's all useless now. They've all experienced a significant loss, and perhaps it's time to end this series, which was meant to demonstrate its resilience. The family's many marriage ended up serving as an inadvertent expose of its failure. Is another season really necessary to demonstrate what is already so clear? Robyn's willingness to serve as Meri's surrogate has me a little perplexed as I rewatch. Perhaps someone can explain this to me. Meri had previously disclosed that she had been diagnosed with infertility that cannot be explained. About a year before, she had experienced a miscarriage, and the doctors were unable to pinpoint a precise medical cause. Cody asked Meri if she would consider IVF on their break in a previous episode. Meri retorted that although she was amenable to being pregnant, she preferred natural conception over medical intervention. Robyn then volunteered to be Meri's surrogate during Solomon's birth. This is where I went wrong, even if it seemed like a heartfelt gesture. Robyn must have been informed by Cody that Meri had previously declined his offer of IVF. Therefore, it seems a little out of place for Robyn to volunteer to carry the baby, an offer that would still require IVF simply in her body. You would imagine Meri's uterus would still be capable of handling the situation if doctors were unable to pinpoint a specific reproductive problem. Why does Robyn believe that the missing component is her womb? This time, am I missing something? I just thought it was kind of absurd. In my opinion, Cody would have found a way to put it on hold, or let it fade into nothing even if Meri had consented to IVF. Indeed, Robyn must have been aware that Meri was not amenable to IVF, which enhances the impression that the offer was made in an attempt to make Robyn look altruistic and compassionate. Let's face it, Robyn is constantly aware of how pious she appears to Cody, and she has a tendency of making things about herself, generally by crying and taking center stage in any circumstance. Not to mention that she had herself re-virginalized for him. She even made the family portrait in which she utterly altered history to depict her children with Cody in a non-existent past. She created this fictitious family history by editing Christine and her children out of a real photo, and in the end, she effectively eliminated them from existence. Robyn has been complicit at every turn, but Cody is undoubtedly the worst. I just watched the teasers where Janelle discusses the property with Meri. Janelle basically tells Meri that she has her back, but she also warns her about the potential havoc that Cody and Robyn could cause when it comes time to sell the home. This is a classic maneuver. Then came the next teaser, in which Christine introduced Meri to David. It was rather enjoyable, to be honest. They weren't very dramatic, but they were polite, perhaps even friendly. My unpopular view is that Christine ought to have asked Meri to her wedding. I understand. It's intended to be all about the bride and groom, and the bride doesn't owe anyone an invitation. Come on, though. Christine might have been the more mature one in this situation. They were polite. They had a good relationship. Yes, Christine has good grounds to decline Meri's invitation. Even though Meri is no longer involved, she still harbors some lingering feelings about the way she behaved when she left Cody. Why don't we offer a small concession now? A lot of it comes down to Cody playing them off of one another, even though all three of them have baggage from their past. Perhaps now that they've all moved on from him, they can begin to resolve their differences. That's just my opinion, of course. It is important to remember that we do not truly know these individuals. Christine makes her own decisions, and there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we never see. In the end, nobody else has the right to decide who should or shouldn't be invited to a wedding, and Meri herself acknowledged that she understood her exclusion. She also wouldn't have brought Christine, and Leon appeared to be entirely okay with the choice. Perhaps we ought to if they do. While it's a stretch to say that Christine is a terrible girl, it's undeniable that she plays the drama game. Let's face it, though. Perhaps it's time to realize that we don't have all the specifics and let Christine marry and everyone else select who gets to be in their lives. Let's not forget that Christine and Janelle were the object of everyone's admiration. They bonded by their shared tension with Cody, but they weren't really great friends until Flagstaff. As they say, my friend is my enemy's enemy. Additionally, as if it were a batch of honors, Christine always makes sure to remind us of Cody, Robyn, and Meri, who are not on her guest list, whenever she hosts a significant event. Without a doubt, Christine enjoys the drama. She can't help but act like the mean girl and stir things up. Now, excuse me while I talk about this supposed mistreatment Meri inflicted on the children. Meri wasn't abusive. On the contrary, she was the one who had to carry out the majority of the discipline because Janelle and Christine couldn't be bothered. Meri was gladly left to be the enforcer by those two. And you know who was blamed for it? The children who grumbled about her were Meri. Peden, who happens to have his own problems. Madison and Michael T are each dealing with their own issues. Therefore, it's not shocking that they had problems with Meri. In the meantime, she got along well with the other children. Remember that Meri was in the front row at Logan's wedding, and Gwen, who has always been there for Meri, even complimented her during the entire text message controversy, reminding everyone that they were still related. Finally, let's just say what needs to be said. Christine is sometimes petty. She acts in ways that help her or create drama to get attention, and then she anticipates a riot when she merely tries to be friendly. She is more like Cody than anyone likes to acknowledge. And while she pretends to be acting morally, the strict limits she draws are very juvenile and intended to do harm to others. She will make sure that everyone knows how much better she feels now that she has found the love of her life, but she will not accept responsibility for the chaos that characterized the last 25 years of her life. She gets to pretend that she's educated and superior now that she's broken off her relationship with Cody. Because Meri and Janelle haven't completely broken off their relationship with Cody, she continues to talk down to them in the interim. Apparently, that really irritates her. The true question here is why Cody is so fixated on Caleb. Really, what's wrong with the entire nature of Cody and Caleb's relationship? Although they are still organizing the wedding in season 11, it appears from the conversation I'm reading that this bromance goes beyond that. Cody seems entirely too excited with Caleb, even in the latter seasons, as if he has forgotten that he had other son-in-laws by now. What's the matter with Caleb then? What's so enamored with Cody? In my opinion, It's a combination of factors. To begin with, Kody believes that Caleb is the epitome of a macho man. He embodies all of Kody's desires. He is rough, gruff, and the type of guy who would perfectly complement Kody's aspiration to be the dominant male. Caleb and Kody's brother Win, with whom Kody obviously has some severe unresolved issues, would have gotten along well. What's even more significant is the connection to Kody's favorite brother, Curtis, who was married to Caleb's sister. Caleb's standing is further complicated by his past and that familial connection. Kody sees it as more than simply a daughter's lover. In addition to the date of Kody's initial encounter with Caleb, there is the entire my brother-in-law thing, which gives Kody some solace or even validation. With Maddie, Dad was most likely at the peak of his favorite daughter period. It's similar to that weird friendship between Ross and Chandler, when Ross is my best friend and he's dating my sister. A little peculiar, a little possessive, yet full of strange emotions. To be honest, I believe Kody was simply in need of male company. The man was constantly surrounded by ladies, and it's likely that he considered Caleb a friend. Finally, he could connect with him in a way that he was unable to do with the other men in his life. Maddie's guy was no longer the only one. The fact that Caleb and Kody had a completely different pre-existing connection likely contributed to the relationship feeling more like a broship than a father-in-law dynamic. Thus, admiration, envy, and the need for a manly companion are all involved. It seems as though Kody was searching for his own wingman, and Caleb was the ideal candidate. Given how public the Browns were with the show and the likelihood of punishment or expulsion, the entire situation of the church's decision to expel them is undoubtedly perplexing. Given how they portray polygamy in a highly sanitized mainstream way on television, doing sister wives seems strange. You would assume that the church would be able to draw in new members with a show that depicts polygamy in such a positive and normalized way. In essence, they were demonstrating polygamy to the whole public in America, and there were no significant controversies involved. Families do experience difficulties in divorce, but that's the case for all families, and nothing about their circumstances initially seemed scandalous. Why, then, would the church expel them? As the Tom Cruise of Scientology, you would assume Kody would be hailed, admired, and perhaps idolized for making polygamy more approachable. The Browns may have served as the church's golden family, exemplifying polygamy in a more approachable, contemporary manner. The church doesn't want to attract too much attention to itself, according to one theory. After all, it's already common knowledge that many Utah polygamists are seeking to hide their activities and live under the radar. Therefore, the church may have viewed the Browns' notoriety as a possible threat if it is attempting to conceal its dubious, covert activities, whether they involve fraud, dubious transactions, or just plain strangeness. They run the risk of attracting criticism if they are overly visible, and the church does not want that. Perhaps they thought the Browns were a bit too obvious. According to another conspiracy theory, the church may not have liked Kody or his family in particular, and may not have wanted the Browns to serve as ambassadors, particularly if they didn't believe they reflected the ideals or image the church wished to promote. Some churchgoers might have taken offense to Kody's entire demeanor. He's ostentatious. He's on television. He's not precisely the modest, low-key kind they may like. In addition, there is the entire financial problem. Many of these polygamous households conceal their paternity tales and claim several children under different names while using food stamps or other government assistance programs. The Browns run the risk of exposing the church to fraud or deception investigations if their profile grows too much. Any organization, especially one that is already operating in the background, does not want to be subjected to that level of scrutiny. While the Browns' notoriety might have presented an opportunity, it also presented several hazards for the church, particularly if it attracted unwelcome attention or damaged their reputation. Therefore, they may have decided that separating was the wisest course of action. After all, we'll probably never know what goes on behind closed doors. We don't have the same kind of tangible events that marked the end of their relationship, at least not before the infamous catfish scandal. It's true that Kody and Meri's marriage appears to have been cloaked in mystery, especially when compared to his other relationships with Christine and Janelle, where there are clear turning points with Meri. The conversation at the picnic table was a crucial moment, but it was already much later in the marriage, and by that time, a lot of the tension had already built up. The fact that Kody and Meri never seemed to have agreed on the reasons why things broke down beyond the typical, irreconcilable narrative is one thing that sticks out. Yes, there were the obvious reasons, like Meri's demanding, occasionally aggressive personality and Kody's propensity to be a bit of a jerk. However, given that his relationship with Meri was allegedly more about the idea of polygamy than any genuine emotional bond between the two, Kody's assertion that nothing he did was ever good enough for her rings accurate. Since polygamy was a major part of Meri's desires, Kody married her, which may have added to the couple's problems. However, it appears that they lacked the foundation necessary to maintain a marriage in a plural family, and when you add infertility problems to the mix, it's no wonder that things began to fall apart. When Janelle entered the picture, Kody's focus finally turned to her, and the dynamics of their relationship completely changed. Numerous rumors exist regarding their early years, and based on the statements made by the children and other family members, it appears that Meri had a very strict my way or the highway mentality. This certainly didn't sit well with Kody's more submissive approach to disagreement. In other cases, Meri's tenacity worked. Choices. But in a multiple marriage where everyone had to share the space, it was a difficult match. According to reports, she attempted to take charge and pull rank, but Kody lacked the skills necessary to handle such a confrontation, so he just raised his hands and faced Janelle. It's interesting to note that some of the early accounts of marriage depict a marriage that was doomed from the beginning. According to reports, Kody first introduced Robyn to Meri, who was presumably supposed to shoulder the blame for Robyn's eventual position within the family. This appears to have been the catalyst for many of their problems. Maybe Meri felt marginalized by the frequent changes of loyalty, or maybe Kody never really grasped the emotional ramifications of such choices. In the end, it appears that Meri and Kody lacked the emotional depth necessary to sustain their relationship and never truly understood how to resolve their conflicts. Instead, despite the fact that they were obviously too different, they were both caught in a system that expected them to make it work. Let us know in your comments. And stay tuned by subscribing our channel to get more updates like this. Thanks everyone.